At 6:45 a.m. On a crisp October morning in 2024, the garage door of my modest home in Willow Creek, a tidy suburban enclave outside Portland, Oregon, groaned open. Sunlight sliced through the fog, hitting my windshield like a spotlight on a stage set for another grim performance. I was already running late for a client meeting, my coffee cold in its travel mug, praying the universe would let me escape my own driveway without catastrophe. But there it was, Lisa's sleek silver Mercedes, parked like a barricade across my drive, its polished chrome glinting with smug defiance. I tapped the horn twice, then a third time, each blare sharper than the last. Nothing. I rolled down my window and yelled toward her house, "Lisa, move your car." Silence. For the sixth time that month, I was a prisoner in my own garage because my neighbor believed her spin class trumped basic courtesy. It was infuriating, but worse, it had cost me a major client the previous week when I missed a deadline, trapped by her car. The kicker? She knew exactly what she was doing. I'd seen that sly grin when I confronted her last time, her voice dripping with mock innocence. "Oh, chill. It's just a few minutes." Minutes that stretched into hours. That morning, something snapped. If no one else would hold her accountable, I would, and I'd make sure she'd never forget it. Willow Creek was the kind of place where every mailbox matched, and lawns were manicured to HOA perfection. On the surface, it was idyllic, but beneath the polished veneer, the homeowners association ruled with an iron grip, and Lisa was its self-appointed empress. With her sleek auburn pixie cut and an endless parade of designer athleisure, she strutted through the neighborhood like she owned it, her reusable coffee cup a scepter of suburban power. You'd think someone who spent her mornings at bar and her evenings nitpicking mailbox fonts wouldn't have time to torment neighbors. But Lisa made it her mission. The first time her Mercedes blocked my drive, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe her garage was full. Maybe she was distracted. But by the fourth time, it was clear this was no accident. I tried reasoning with her, politely asking her to keep my driveway clear. She nodded, all fake sincerity, then filed an HOA complaint against me for excessive engine noise when I revved my car to get her attention at 7 a.m. That same week, a letter arrived claiming my garage door's navy paint violated the neighborhood's neutral palette. My door was the same color as half the street, unchanged for a decade, but somehow mine alone offended Lisa's delicate sensibilities. Her antics escalated. When her friends visited, she'd double park, her Mercedes hogging my drive and her guest SUVs clogging the curb. Once, she left just enough room for me to attempt squeezing by, nearly scratching my car in the process. My security footage became a grim comedy reel, fuming in my driver's seat, boxed in by her luxury sedan. I confronted her again after missing a critical work call, keeping my tone even. "Why do you keep doing this?" Her response was a masterpiece of condescension. "Maybe try leaving earlier." "I've got barred 8. That was the moment I realized this wasn't carelessness, it was a power play. She did it because she could, because no one had ever made her face consequences that stung. I tried the official route. I emailed the HOA president, Greg, who sent a vague reply promising to look into it. Weeks passed, and Lisa's car blocked me again. I filed a formal complaint, only to receive a response not from Greg, but from Lisa, on HOA letterhead, dismissing my claim for lack of evidence and suggesting I park on the street if it's such a big deal. She even tacked on a fine for my porch light, which she deemed too bright. It was clear, Lisa wasn't just abusing her HOA board position. She was untouchable. Or so she thought. I started talking to neighbors. Mrs. Clara, a retired nurse, shared how Lisa once tried to have her vintage VW towed for being too retro for the neighborhood's aesthetic. Another neighbor, Tom, got fined for a birdhouse that Lisa claimed was visually disruptive. Lisa wasn't just a nuisance, she was a suburban dictator, weaponizing HOA rules to enforce her whims. That night, over a beer with my buddy Jake, a landscaper who owed me a favor, I vented about Lisa's reign of terror. He laughed and said, "Too bad you can't just fence her car in." The idea hit me like a lightning bolt. Not a fence, but something bolder, something legal, dramatic, and impossible to ignore. I began plotting. First, I needed ironclad proof. I upgraded my security cameras to high definition, capturing every angle of my driveway. I logged every instance of Lisa's parking violations dates, times, her smug waves at the camera. I recorded a sidewalk chat where she bragged about her special HOA exemptions. By week 3, my evidence was bulletproof. Videos, emails, neighbor statements, even a Venmo receipt Lisa sent Clara for a sidewalk repair, no one recalled. I wasn't aiming for Cornot yet. I wanted something more visceral. I ordered cinder blocks from a local supplier, claiming they were for a backyard project. They arrived discreetly, stacked in my garage behind tarp. I waited for Lisa to strike again, knowing she would. On a foggy Thursday morning, she did. Her Mercedes rolled up, bold as ever, parking dead center across my drive. She stepped out in neon leggings, flashed a taunting wave at my camera, and sauntered off to her yoga studio. My blood boiled, but I stayed calm. This was my moment. I called Jake. 30 minutes later, his truck pulled up with a wheelbarrow, concrete mix, and wooden stakes. We worked methodically, building 2 low walls, one behind her rear bumper, one in front of her hood. No contact with her car, no scratches, just a perfect legal cage. We laid each block with precision, the wet concrete smell mixing with the morning dew. When we finished, her Mercedes sat trapped, a gleaming prisoner in a concrete cell. I planted a sign, private property, trespassing prohibited. You were warned. I snapped photos, time-stamped them, and emailed copies to a lawyer friend, just in case. Then we waited. 2 hours later, Lisa returned. Her confident stride faltered, her face twisting from shock to fury. She sprinted to her car, yanking at the door as if willpower could move concrete. "What is this?" she shrieked. I stepped outside, phone recording. "You parked on my property again, Lisa." After warnings, complaints, and fines, I protected my space. She screamed about HOA power, lawsuits, vandalism. I showed her my evidence calmly, coldly. "Call the police if you want. I've got everything documented." Her face went crimson, speechless for the first time ever. Neighbors began to gather, phones out, some grinning, others whispering. Clara brought cookies, passing them around like we were a block party. Lisa's tirade faltered as the crowd grew. She wasn't the queen anymore, she was a spectacle. That night, a neighbor posted photos online with the caption, "When HOA royalty gets grounded." The post went viral, memes flooding social media. Lisa's Mercedes became the poster child for parking karma. The next morning, a police car arrived. Lisa, disheveled, ranted to the officers about vandalism and harassment. I handed over my file videos, emails, timestamps. The lead officer skimmed it, raised an eyebrow, and turned to Lisa. "Ma'am, this car's on private property. He hasn't touched it. You'll need a tow truck or contractor." They left, and Lisa stood frozen, her threats crumbling. The HOA called an emergency meeting. I presented my case. Videos, forged fines, neighbor testimonies. The room was packed. Neighbors who'd avoided meetings for years now leaning forward. Lisa sat at the board table, pale but defiant, until I played the recording of her boasting about her exemptions. She stormed out, leaving her papers behind. The board voted to suspend her immediately, pending a financial audit. That audit, led by a quiet accountant named Sam, uncovered a bombshell. Lisa had siphoned thousands from HOA, funds fake invoices, inflated contracts, payments to non-existent vendors. The board moved to oust her permanently and pursue legal action. A for sale sign appeared on her lawn days later. Her Mercedes stayed caged until I dismantled the blocks weeks later, not for her, but for me. I'd won. Lisa moved out quietly one dawn, her house empty by noon. The neighborhood exhaled. Kids biked freely, barbecues returned, and the HOA rewrote its rules to prevent another Lisa. I joined the board, not to control, but to protect. One day, a letter arrived, and signed, "I was wrong. Don't let anyone else do what I did." I read it, then set it aside. My driveway was mine again, my home a sanctuary. But here's where it gets messy. Was I a hero or a vigilante? Did I go too far, trapping her car like that? Or was it the only way to stop her? Should I have kept quiet and let the HOA handle it, even if they never would? Would you have done play by the rules or fought back with concrete? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more stories where justice gets served. Let's start a debate. Whose side are you on?